And welcome back to the Dynasty Rewind, everybody. I am your host, Michael Bauer. The best in the business is once again back in business. And this week, two great nations are going to be celebrating, and we are bringing two great podcasts together. We have some of the boys from True North Fantasy Football joining us today, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. Hey, look, Sean, already first comment of the night. So let's say hi to our intern, Sean Fournier. He's got a picture there too. That's fantastic. Good evening, Sean, and good evening to all you rewinders watching out there. Before we get into it, let's talk to you about our friends over at dynastyowner.com. You're an above-average fantasy football player, so you'll likely be interested in a new challenge this upcoming season. Check out Dynasty Owner. They've added a new strategic twist to fantasy football by incorporating the business of football into their game. This is because their salary cap dynasty format is based on real NFL salaries and is such a difference maker that they actually have a patent on it. For example, Tua signing his $30 million contract doesn't matter much in most leagues, but in Dynasty Owner, could his $7.5 million per year make him more attractive than Russell Wilson at $35 million? I think so. Dynasty Owner leagues are forming soon from people who've been on their wait list, but there's a limited number of franchises made available at any given time. So get on the wait list for an invitation by visiting dynastyowner.com and click on Start My Dynasty. You'll be able to join leagues with cash prize pools or just play for the love of the game. And after you join the wait list, you can check out a mock draft and see how using real NFL salaries changes, player rankings, draft strategy, and roster construction. Dynasty Owner also recently released their new mobile app on iOS and Android, so join the waitlist and download the app right now. Make sure you tell them that the Dynasty Rewind sent you because that helps us out. So helping us out tonight, looking down at his phone, joining us from New Jersey, we got Porkman. What's good, Porkman?
I was paying attention.
Yeah, but you were
calling me out there.
I
was trying to get my breakouts right.
Well, Jenna's probably watching. She's going to just message you and be like, Phil, don't look at your phone during the podcast.
Don't. She is going to message me. I know she is, but that's my homie.
Yeah, she's my wife is quite the stalker. But so joining us, Nate, I don't even, what state are you in right now? I'm not even sure. You were in Delaware.
All of them.
Fun. I'm going to list you all the fun facts about Delaware right now. And moving on. So, Nate, you're doing great down there in Delaware. That was a bad joke. There's nothing fun about Delaware. So,
yeah, Delaware's. I'm actually in Sussex County, which is lower Delaware, and that's really what it is.
Okay, lower Delaware. All right. So, joining us from the great country of Canada, this is the first time the Dynasty Rewind is going international. We got some of the boys, Ferda from True North Fantasy Football. Gentlemen, go ahead and introduce yourself. Bring that sweet Canadian voice to the Dynasty Rewind.
I'm Travis. I'm one of the co-creators of True North Fantasy Football, and happy to be on with you guys. I've chatted with all you guys on Twitter before, and it's nice to get in here, see your guys' faces, and talk some fantasy football.
It's going to be a good one, Mr. Harris. I like calling you Mr. Harris. I can't explain it. I don't know why.
That's fine. I've been called a lot worse. That's for sure.
Rocking that headband with see, I can't see too well. I wish StreamYard made you guys a little bit bigger on here, but you got the hair sticking up. I'm loving it with the headband. It's looking good. How you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing great. The fans spoke. They wanted me to rock the headband. It came up in our little giveaway, True North giveaway, that some fans out there of the True North brand wanted more headbands. So we ran a little poll, and the fans of your show and the fans of True North said, yeah, Harris time, you need to wear that headband. So yeah, I'm super pumped to talk some breakouts with you guys today. And it's a really exciting time in fantasy football for us all, isn't it?
Well, it'll be exciting if we actually get to play it. I hate to be that guy, but fingers crossed. Exactly. So before we get into it, though, do you guys want to talk a little bit about True North? And you guys have a ton of great stuff going on right now. I believe you just launched the YouTube channel. Got some great merch up there. An awesome website. So take a few minutes or however long you want. Well, not 2 hours. We talked about that. tell us all about what you guys going on up there at True North Fantasy Football.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the YouTube channel, so we've got some really warm reception on that so far. Lots of new subscribers. The contest for Canada Day was a big driver of that. We just drew the winner of that tonight, which was pretty fun. That was a super fun live session we did. And then I think our team is 10 strong now, and we got guys writing articles all the time. We've got a lot of plans for the YouTube channel, and of course the website. We just put our Dynasty rankings up, so it's fitting that we're coming on the Dynasty Rewind. So it's a good time for True North right now. I think I can speak for all of us when I say we're really excited. And we got some charity leagues going on too, but I guess I'll let Will kind of take care of that one because he's he's super into that, and he's done a lot of work to get those charity leagues going.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Trav has done a fantastic job kind of uniting the North in fantasy football, which has been super cool. And that's kind of how I was brought in the fold, and I'm contributing there and loving everything that we're doing, and it just grows more and more every day. We've got two charity leagues going. One that I started myself, the Canadian National Best Ball Champions League, which is 30 right now. It's 32 teams, kind of started in the doldrums of COVID-19 and just kind of grew. I honestly, and this is like truthfully from the bottom of my heart, and Trav and every Canadian that you talk to will probably echo the sentiment. I honestly didn't know that there was more than 16 people in Canada that played fantasy football. Like, that's not even a joke. Like, that's a real thing. And like, the group that we've been able to put together and Trav has built here, it's super connected, and people just keep coming out of the woodwork all the time, which is super exciting. So the Canadian National Best Ball Champions League is just a part of that, and I'm the one who started that, and it's been a great success. Have a huge waiting list for people wanting to get in, and all the proceeds from that go to charity. And then just kicked off a season-long league, the Canada Cup. So it's 3 divisions strong. To pretty much anoint a Canadian champion. Again, all proceeds going to charity. So it's been really cool to be part of what's been going on, and seeing Canada kind of get its own voice in the fantasy world. And Trav and True North has been a big part of that, and really looking forward to seeing where we go. I think that YouTube is going to be a huge part of that, and we're super excited about what's going on. And we're actually going to be launching a new show called the Jet Sweep with myself and Josh Smokey Nelson, another True Norther. And it's really to every week consistently talk about the hot topics in fantasy football and what's important to your team. So that'll be launching and taking off pretty soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
So question for you guys, NFL or CFL? What do you prefer?
Oh, NFL. It's definitely NFL. It's not even a contest. I love the CFL.
We don't say the C word. We don't say the C word.
Okay, so is that a general consensus for most Canadians, or for you guys?
No. I think the old timers are definitely CFL loyalists. Like, probably like my parents' age they kind of like maybe not boycott the NFL, but they stay true to the CFL, and okay. they'll tell you all about it if they get a chance, for sure.
Okay.
It's also another Canadian thing is that it's very regional as well. So you go to towns like Winnipeg or in Saskatchewan. And even I guess Alberta as well too. I mean, these are CFL towns, and like they bleed their team's colors through and through. And it's sacrilegious to talk NFL in front of some hardcore CFL fans. Mm-hmm. Like it's big time, but like it's even for myself, it's kind of entrenched in my history and my background. My grandfather played in the CFL for 3 years, but that doesn't mean that. That I'm going to sit. I don't even know when they play anymore. I don't know if it's Thursdays, Saturdays, or Sundays. They kind of change it up.
Trav has no idea. He's like,
everywhere.
But it's cool. It is cool. Like for me, it's if I'm going to take in a game, it's going to have to be live. And the fans like in some of these cities are absolutely bananas. They're nuts. It's the only professional sports team in some of these Canadian cities, right? And so they're rabid, Rough Riders fans in Saskatchewan. Crazy fact, we actually had 2 teams with the same name for a long time in Canada, if you could believe that.
Really?
Yeah.
Ottawa and Saskatchewan Rough Riders.
Both for the Rough Riders. But you go to these towns like Winnipeg, for example, Saskatchewan, and then even Calgary and Edmonton. These are die hard football fans, and it's certainly CFL first, but that doesn't in Toronto. No. I think that BC is probably really similar. I mean, this is where people live in Canada. That's where the majority of people live, and they're largely following NFL. Like it's not even close.
That being said, it is great football. The field is wide open. It's a wider field. It's a bigger football, and there's one extra player on the field. So like when there's a crazy CFL game, it's really exciting football to watch, but it's just kind of fewer and farther between. Like I've got to take a ferry for an hour and a half to get over to go see a game where I live. So I don't get to see the games very often, but it is a good brand of football when you get a good game.
Yeah, okay. Especially live.
Before we get on, though, Frank has a question. He wants to know, do the True Northers get into the Devi world?
I haven't started yet. I've been
Okay.
thinking about it, and just the past couple seasons, I've been starting to study the college game a little bit harder. So I'm not quite there yet. I do have a lot of dynasty leagues and a couple redrafts and stuff that I have to kind of focus my attention towards. Because if I get into Devy, I'm going to want to get deep into Devy, and that's time commitment right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
really good.
Frank, not yet, but they're working on it. You guys just have a Devi guy join your.
Yeah, I think we're working on it. We're working on a couple for sure.
Yeah.
There seems to be some pretty talented ones up our way, so could be something that happens sooner rather than later. It seems to be, at least for me, it seems to be becoming more and more popular, right? And more important to be able to get an edge in fantasy football is understanding that landscape, right?
I agree. And if you need any advice, Nate is the head of our Devi department. So,
Nice. Good to
which
know.
interesting enough, is our only department that we have here.
I got my promotion last week, so I'm excited.
So it's important. It's really important.
It's very, very important. But we do have an intern too. So
That's
Sean,
right,
if
Sean.
if
I
you'd
see
like to
Sean
say
all the
it-
time.
Sean's great, isn't he? He's
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. I check into your guys' stream all the time, and Sean's in there, or the golf one when Sean was in there for your guys' little golf getaway. That was awesome too.
Yeah, man.
Sean, you're awesome.
He's awesome. You hear that? Okay, he does have a question. Amidst the COVID situation, do you see any rookies breaking out right away, regardless of shortened preseason? So there you go, Sean, with the awesome internness and the segue, stealing my segues, man. Also, Sean, how are we looking on that Fresca, buddy? I know you live 3.5 hours away from me, but you got a car, so if we could get that down here, that'd be great. So, what do you guys think about that? I mean, I really think that with the whole situation, you're not practicing together, it's going to be don't count on these rookies right away. Like if you have a team that you think is one piece away and you're going to count on a rookie, I think you're going to be really disappointed. There's some great talent here, but you're not getting a Saquon Barkley rookie season out of some of these guys, I don't think. But what do you gentlemen think about that? Porkman, let's start with you on this one. I haven't heard your smooth voice too much tonight.
No, I think I actually heard a rumor today talking about getting rid of the whole preseason. So
I did hear that too.
If that's the case, then that's really alarming. So I mean, right now it probably would just stick with the vets unless you have like a locked and loaded type guy like Jonathan Taylor and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They're going. Here we go.
your boy Porkman.
Yeah, I want him to tweet at me again. I love that.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
But yeah,
anyway, go ahead.
I know. I know you're definitely trying to get him on here. But yeah, I mean, trusting these rookies now, I don't think it's a really good idea. So probably maybe by like the middle of the season, if we make it there because of COVID, that's when most of them probably get into the groove of things. There's a lack of training camp because of virtual training camp. So I mean, it's kind of hard to teach somebody, especially if they're not like a visual learner. If they're a person learning about just doing, then you're probably screwed. But how do we know? We don't know who the hell can figure out by visual or by doing. So at the end of the day, hey, try to get some of these vets that's falling. That's where the values are going to be.
Dude, this is great. So Porkman's sitting there in a rocking chair and giving out this wisdom while he's rocking in a chair. It's like he's like an old man spewing it out on a porch, like, yeah, don't count on those rookies, boys.
Don't count on the rookies. Get off my lawn.
Yeah.
So do you guys agree with that? I mean, unless you have a great talent like a Jonathan Taylor, I think probably running backs might have a slightly easier time because, the running back position's slightly easier to pick up in the NFL than like your wide receivers, and tight ends don't usually break out until year 3 anyway. But if you're drafting a rookie tight end in Dynasty League and expecting him to be your guy from day one, you're doing something wrong. That's all I'm going to say. So, or you just don't know what you're doing, but that's why you're here, so you can figure out what's going on. All right, Sean, your question's going now. So
I do think there is like 2 wide receivers who are, I don't know, COVID proof, I guess we could say.
Okay.
And I think that's Justin Jefferson, because after Adam Thielen, there's no one taking targets.
Isn't Tajay Sharp is there, right?
Obisi Johnson.
And didn't Josh Dotson sign there?
Ew.
Dude,
I'm just saying
they're naming random names.
They're there, aren't they? I'm just saying.
I mean, Justin Jefferson is going to get a bunch of volume no matter what. So he's going to be fine. And then I think With the Broncos, probably Jerry Jeudy, just because outside of Cortland Sutton and Noah Fant, they have to throw the ball to someone else. It could be Hamler, it could be Jeudy, but it's probably Jeudy. He was very pro-ready. He kind of fit that Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley mold, whereas the pro-ready rookie who doesn't have a super high ceiling, but he's going to produce right away. So I think those two guys are probably better bets for guys who could play well despite a shortened preseason.
Chev makes a good point. He was not able to join us tonight, but he is checking in saying, hey, Chev, miss you. We'll talk to you next week. He said Michael Pittman could be solid. I think so too. Hopefully Phillip Rivers can get it past the line of scrimmage because his arm was not looking as good.
I think I'd probably add Brandon Ayuk's name into that mix as well, just with Deebo Samuel's injury and the fact that they're probably going to have him run in shorter routes, so they can kind of ease him into the route tree a little bit. So I think Brandon Ayuk is pretty viable with not a whole lot of other, like Kendrick Bourne's a pretty good player, and they got Richie James, but like nobody who's like super threatening to Brandon Ayuk in my opinion.
Yeah,
fire me north.
Yeah, that's right. I actually got the title of the show from Chev. So Chev, thank you very much for that. I was playing around with this before the show too, so throw that out there for you guys.
Ferda boys.
All right, let's talk some breakouts, as we've been calling them here.
In about 8.
Is it because Trav sounds like he's from Letterkenny?
Do I? Awesome.
A little bit, yeah.
I'll take it.
Slightly.
I'll take it, boys.
All right, so I'll tell you what. Let's let our guest roll it first. Well, let's start with you. Breakout player for this year. So I got a list, but if we overlap a little bit, we can just discuss. It's fine. That's what we're here for anyway. So we're going to go ahead and start with you. Lead away.
So you actually already kind of insinuated or started to talk about what I was hoping to talk about today, and that's third-year tight end breakouts, which I think that we're always hoping and banking on, right? I think that often, I look at the tight end class from last year, and Hawkinson and Fant went incredibly early in dynasty drafts, right? We're talking first round, and it's just not fair to place that kind of ADP on a tight end. It doesn't matter what the talent is, because it just takes time for these guys to mature in the NFL. They're running different route trees. They've got more responsibilities. It takes a long time for them to get used to the offense and, become productive in the NFL. And, this player that I'm going to talk about certainly fits that mold. Off the chart measurables, was productive in college, was drafted high. And a lot of people drafted him very highly coming out of college. But again, fantasy footballers get frustrated with tight ends, and I don't understand why this cycle continues to happen. We know that it's going to take time. So, there's a couple different pieces to that. Why draft them early if you know that they're going to take time to develop? And, if you do believe in the talent and draft them, then hey, be prepared to tax them for definitely the first year, maybe, and maybe they're going to be sitting on your bench for a couple of years, but it also offers up a good buy potential for these tight ends as people get frustrated with them, because it happens every year. And this player playing in Miami, Mike Gesicki, I think is going to be an absolute star this year. And
had him on my list too.
Absolutely, and I've been all over him since the even mid-season last year, starting to pick him up before he had some of the breakout games where he's putting up over 20 fantasy points. He is, you look at his measurables, he tested in over the 95th percentile in literally every athletic category. Like, the guy athletically, checks every single box that you could imagine. Also, you look at his role in Miami, you look at how, I don't think people talk about how often Miami threw the ball last year. They threw at the 4th highest rate in the league last year, right? And what's going to change? I look at what's happening in Miami. There's no fun there. I know they brought in a new OC, but a lot of the personnel stays the same. And if they throw at the same rate that they did last year, and Gesicki continues to be used as a 250-pound slot receiver, think about that. Gesicki will eat in that role, right? Like, the guy is an incredible pass catcher. I mean, I think that they knock on his blocking, and I think that they might just move him to a complete kind of move tight end, and that might not be a bad thing. He was on the field for about 60% of their snaps last year. But the most important thing, and the one that really can determine a tight end breakout, is the slot usage. He was in the slot over 30%. And when you look at other tight end breakouts that have happened historically. So year one, you look at George Kittle, and he definitely intrigued a lot of us, but it wasn't until year two that his slot usage increased substantially that we saw that kind of tight end one numbers. Look at Mark Andrews as well. He kind of teased us in year one in his rookie season, kind of said, where did this guy come from? And then when he had that consistent slot usage last year, his numbers were off the charts, right? And I look at that and I look at, okay, so Gesicki has this athletic profile that is probably, probably only Kittle trumps him in that department. So he's got that. He's got the situation. Miami didn't bring in any pass catchers, which to me is like super surprising. But to me that says, hey, I've got faith in my guys. I've got faith in Parker. I've got faith in Williams coming back healthy, and I got faith in this amazing, beefed up, 250-pound, 6'6" slot receiver in Mike Gesicki. So that gets me super exciting, and I say, okay, well, if we see his slot usage stay the same, and he is on the field for more snaps, that will naturally lead to more fantasy points being scored for your fantasy team. And to me, I'm sitting there, and again, he's one of these guys that people have got frustrated with. So I've just been kind of picking away at him, and it blows my mind that we've even seen his ADP continue to slide in this offseason. I don't know why. I don't know if you guys saw the crazy football throwing
passes to himself.
He threw a pass over his house and caught it on the street. I mean, probably the Dolphins don't want to see like one of their top receiving weapons running out onto the goddamn street blind trying to catch a pass. But I mean, it gets me really excited, and where he's being taken right now, whether it be tight end premium or in just regular PPR, he's an absolute bargain. And he's not one of these guys either where we haven't seen signs of a breakout. He's not like like an Irv Smith, for example, that, hey, we like the prospect, but we don't have actual production. We actually have production from Gesicki from last year. When he was given opportunity, he absolutely produced and was probably won you some weeks down the stretch. So my breakout and a guy that I'm super excited for is Mike Gesicki of the Miami Dolphins. Would love to hear what you guys think about it.
Yeah, I'm
Gesicki.
definitely high on that one. I was actually able to buy him very low last year. As you can see, he has the athletic build that you want in a tight end, but they say he can't block. Well, my man, if he can't block, just put him in the slot.
He's not
put
good
him
at
out there so he's running routes and get somebody else that can friggin' block.
It's worked for Zach Ertz for his entire career.
Well, yeah, it definitely has.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm loving on that totally.
And I've been out there and I've been saying it. I'm like, there's no reason Gesicki can't be a top 5 tight end. I mean,
possible.
What's his nickname, Will?
Oh, we got a couple going for him, and you do. I don't do him justice like you do. So why don't you?
I've been calling him Grease Lightning, and the only reason for that is because when you say his name in like a Travolta voice, it sounds like he could be from the movie Grease. So he's just a Gesicki, and then he's Grease Lightning.
Yeah,
I think it's awesome.
Glad you guys are hanging out with us tonight. I knew this was going to be a fun pod. Anyone want to touch on Gesicki before we move on? No,
I agree with all that.
All right,
as
do I.
Good.
Nate, let's go with you. I think I know a guy that you might. I'm not sure when you were planning on his breakout, but are we thinking of the same guy, Nate? Probably.
I know who you're thinking of, so I'll talk about him.
Okay, because I have him written down. I wrote down. I'll spoil it. Deontay Johnson, and then my notes were, let Nate talk at length, because I figured
before we get started on Deontay Johnson, call him by his proper name though.
What is it?
Deontay.
Okay,
I'm going to use that.
All right. So
Will's a Steelers fan too.
Is he? All right. Well,
that's why Pittsburgh's only 4 hours away.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
All right. So Nate, do you want to talk about Deontay?
Yeah. So Deontay. Wow, he's already broken out. So is he really a breakout player? I don't know. Yeah. So, the hype is huge right now, and I don't want to say I started the hype, but I was there 4 or 5 months ago at least. I'm just going to go ahead and say he's got no competition because James Washington isn't competing with Deontay Johnson. James Washington is going to be competing with Chase Claypool. So I don't even know who Deontay Johnson's competition is because it's not anybody who's relevant on that roster. And his stats, he was so efficient last year. I know people like to hate on the separation stat, and I understand why, because it does not correlate directly with increased fantasy performance. But when you look at it in context, I mean, this guy, what were the Steelers quarterbacks doing last year? I mean, not much. So the fact that you get any separation,
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out.
I can't believe they didn't draft a quarterback this year in the middle rounds.
Surprised, yeah.
Separation, it's not a bad thing to lead the league in separation. And he leads the league all the way back to, I think, like 2016 is when FantasyData.com started tracking separation. He has the highest separation in 1 year of any qualified wide receiver that they've tracked. So, I mean, he's got like historic numbers for separation. And like I said, he was efficient. He had like 90 targets, 60 receptions. He's going to be a PPR monster, I think, once Big Ben gets out there, because he's that kind of, I've thrown the AB comparison out there before. I know it's just like blasphemous to say. So I'm not saying he's Antonio Brown, but they do play a very similar style of football. And it's that crafty route runner who may not be the best athlete in the world, but gets open. And if you have a quarterback that can take advantage of that, then it's hard not to be fantasy relevant.
So you were just saying real quick.
I know there's a lot of mystery about Juju. Go ahead.
Oh, you were saying you don't know what the Steelers quarterbacks were doing. Frank says they were getting hit in the head. So
it was too late.
Thanks, Frank.
Guys, it was way too late.
I'm sorry, you were saying Nate.
Like, I know Juju. I think Juju's gonna be just fine. People are poo-pooing on Juju right now. I've seen him go like in the 4th or 5th round of startups, which is ridiculous for someone who's still like only 23 years old.
Yeah.
And has put the production up that he has. I mean, he's younger than Van Jefferson. Come on.
Oh my God!
Don't.
Beat up pork day.
It's always beat up pork day.
It is. I'm fine. When y'all take the shots, I'll be laughing.
All right. Do you guys have anything to add to Deontay?
I'm super everything that Nate said. I mean, both as a fantasy football guy and a Steelers fan, it all resonates and echoes with me. The Juju stuff is just insane. I mean, the biggest thing about the entire Steelers offense that you've got to factor in, it's all revolves around the health.
It really does.
If he breaks down, his elbow breaks down, that team is done, and it doesn't matter who that talent is. We saw Juju, who I still think is a phenomenal generational talent at wide receiver. He couldn't even make it happen. I know that he was banged up, but like those guys that were throwing them the football, I don't even say their names anymore, because it's just like. And Trav knows this for a fact, is that these guys piss me off so much because they had such an opportunity and they shit the bed. But I'll leave it there. But my only beef with Deontay, it's not about the player, it's about his ADP. The ADP right now, when you look at the value of who you can get around that same area, just doesn't make sense. And like depending on where your team's at. I mean, give me Julian Edelman and like a top 5 wide receiver performance all day over Deontay. But long term, of course, that's a different story. But if I'm there to win today, I'm snapping up Edelman, and I'm not looking twice about it. The hype around Deontay has gotten just absolutely off the charts, and I really do for fantasy football. I've got him all across the board, and as a Steelers fan, I really hope that he pays off. But if he doesn't, man, oh man, that could really hurt your chances in 2020.
Yeah.
All right, I have a quick question. Quick game.
Okay.
Who is more overrated? Okay. Deontay Johnson in the middle of the 8th round, or Miles Sanders in the middle of the 1st round?
We're gonna do this again.
Man,
this is an easy one.
Man.
Just for the record, I was listening to Unscripted today. Our friends at the Undroppables is their podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Paulie Sleepers has Miles Sanders as top 10 running back.
Mm-hmm. So do I.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think it's got to be Deontay Johnson. I think Miles Sanders is his pass catching floor is fantastic, and his rushing upside is top 10 running back easy. And I'm not going to say top 5 just yet, but easily top 10. And I think it's just going to be the year for him, right? Boston Scott does not worry me at all about Miles Sanders. And I think 8th round for Deontay, there's still some question marks, but I do love Deontay. That 8th round is a little bit hefty, but I think it could be worth it from a dynasty lens down the road. My co-host Ty, actually, he said a couple weeks back, he said the more he digs into it, the more he thinks that Deontay Johnson could be one of the best wide receivers in the league. And I trust Ty's opinion quite a bit. I don't know if you've listened to our pod or anything like that. I know Porkman has, with the hashtag dick beaters. Sorry if that's a little bit too...
No, man. Just
okay,
let
good.
it all hang out.
Yeah, it's all hanging out, brother. It's all hanging out, boys. So yeah, I think it's a good question though, Nate. It's a really good question because middle of the first is getting up there.
Yeah, Trav, I think that I don't know if we've talked at length about Miles Sanders. I love the guy. I was all over him coming out. Last year I had him pretty much across the board. But when I look at it in comparable players in that range, I'm just like, I gotta have somebody that I know that I can bank on that production. I can't. It's not like it's the middle of the second or the end of the second where if I swing for the fences and I could hit Miles Sanders out of the park like most of us did last year, cool. But within that range, oh man, I gotta have a locked in. Give me Derrick Henry all day there, as opposed to Miles Sanders. And that's nothing against the player. It's just, hey, I need to know the role to be able to invest like that. And is there that much of an upswing for people that swing for the fences at at the 112 or the 110, or we've seen them creep into the top 10 in some formats? Like, is that risk really worth it for the upside that Sanders bring versus a Derrick Henry or some more known commodity? I guess that's the question mark, and the risk that I can't do it. But I really want to be proven wrong. I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say this though, Nate. The smart answer here is the better pick would be Deontay Johnson in the 8th because wide receivers generally do have a longer shelf life, and specifically in a dynasty format. So, are you happy? Is that what you wanted to hear? Okay. Also, so Mitch Crane Brink. Hopefully, I said your last name right. Fellow Canadian boys, just so you guys know. And he's saying Paris Campbell flying under the radar with 2nd round draft capital spent on Pittman. So. Yeah, Paris Campbell, he's got some draft capital too. So a lot of people are kind of souring on him. I tried to get him in a couple places. I don't know. It's weird. Like this offseason, maybe it's every offseason, you have some people that are either really active or not active at all. Having a hard time getting some people to respond to me, but it is what it is. So are you guys ready to move on to our next breakout?
I think Paris Campbell is an interesting gamble because everybody's down on him, and I understand why. But Phillip Rivers loved Keenan Allen, and Paris Campbell should have that slot role locked down. I mean, he doesn't have much competition. I mean, yeah. So
yeah,
it's not Michael Pittman. It's not T.Y. Hilton in the slot. So it is interesting to look at.
Yeah, he's cheap too.
He's
super cheap.
Be healthy. He
For
had
that
some crazy injuries last year.
For that too, then I say Jack Doyle. Phillip Rivers always loves tight end. Jack Doyle did sign a contract extension. I'm not really high on the other guys that they have there. But let's go to another breakout here. So Trav, you're up next, and then we will go Porkman. I don't think you did one yet, right?
No.
Okay, so then we'll go you, and then I'll do one. So Trav, you are up.
Yeah, so this one might be a little bit cheap because there was a half season breakout, but I'm just going to talk about Kenyon Drake, and I think it's just
love the Drake.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a full season of it. So that's why I think the breakout's actually going to be this year. And I think the situation's just going to be really good for him. He's going to play a lot of snaps. Like down the stretch, he played about 80+% snaps, which I don't think is going to happen this year with a healthy Chase Edmonds. But I do think that Kenyon Drake can get it done on efficiency without all those snaps. He's just, he had 15 attempts per game once he got to Arizona, and I wasn't sure with the Dolphins if we'd ever see him get that. He was really misused there. So I think Kenyon Drake's going to be my breakout because I got him at running back 9 in PPR this year, and I think he could probably rise a little bit higher than that if things go well for him, because that offense is just going to blow up. They got DeAndre Hopkins. They're spreading it out with 4 wide receivers. He's going to get targets. I think there's actually upside on his targets from last year. He was only getting about 4 per game last season with the Cardinals, and I think he could probably get a little uptick on that for a full season, and him in the passing game is just unbelievable.
And I will say I was listening to your latest episode today, and actually I think you guys were talking about Kenyon Drake. I heard that on my way to the golf course today, so working that all together. And
yeah, big fans.
I believe it was you that said, he's a guy that could score from anywhere on the field, which is definitely true. And I love Kenyon Drake too. I traded for him in my home league.
Nice.
So it's his time. I was actually thinking about it after listening to that part of the episode. It's like, you hope that he doesn't turn into one of those guys whose career was cut short because he was somewhere that he was mismanaged, like how he was in Miami. And this is the reason why, as fantasy players, I feel like a lot of people hate Gase, because he just completely botches players, and he gets mad at them for no reason. And you don't get to play. It's like you're coaching yourself out of a job, bud. So
for sure,
he'll do the same in New York. There's no
exactly.
Absolutely, he's doing it already.
If he does it, tell him Michael P. Ryan, it's gonna break my heart.
Yeah. Well, just to Trav's point on Drake, I mean, also, Drizzy Drake, the rapper, of course, is Canadian, so just had to throw that in there. I don't know if Trav was going to freestyle later or not, but
no rhymes tonight, buddy. No rhymes tonight.
Damn. The other piece about Drake as a dynasty asset, though, is that you can get his replacement backs at 0 cost. You can get Chase Edmonds, you can get Eno Benjamin literally for nothing. So I made a move on draft day today to get Drake, get Edmonds, and get Eno Benjamin all in one. So, the price that I had to pay for an RB1 was limited. I mean, I really feel strongly that, Drake was severely mismanaged in Miami, and given the opportunity in Arizona, he showed us what he could do. And I'm super excited for Drake. So my question would be to everyone then is that who do you feel more comfortable taking, Drake or Miles Sanders?
That's an interesting question. I think Drake's probably middle of the second, back of the second right now.
I don't know. Personally, I would probably go with Drake, just because of just the offense. I think the offense is going to break out this year. They have a receiver that the Eagles should have traded for. That was my biggest issue with that. So you got a running. I know, and you got a running quarterback that opens up the lane for Drake as well. So, and he has great hands. I'm taking Drake there.
Okay. I'm gonna go
Miles back.
Yeah,
I got Miles Sanders at 8 and Drake at 9. Okay. So I guess I'm going Miles.
I'm going Miles, but do you guys think Drake gets extended? Sean wants to know. Also, Sean, that's a lovely picture. You don't think Drake gets extended?
I don't think so. I think that's kind of why they use the transition tag, and there's running backs coming out next year. We don't really know what's going to happen with that, but I think those guys are going to come into the NFL regardless next year. So I think the Cardinals might be eyeing up using the transition tag on a player who fits perfectly, but he is going to be 27 by the time the season ends, I believe. So I think they could potentially look younger if their team starts to progress and they feel like they can use maybe a first or second round, probably a second round pick on a running back next year.
Okay. What do you guys think?
I think it's so hard to pay running backs.
I want them to stay extended. Yeah, they're not going to pay him. I mean, if they give him something like what they gave Melvin Gordon, possibly if he wants to take it, then I would say they'll extend it with that. But I'm not really sure because these running backs just not getting paid.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for them. They really putting their life on the line out there.
Yeah, man, you feel bad for those millionaires, don't you, Pork Man?
I do.
I'll tell you who else I feel bad for. Jeff Bezos. That guy's got it rough.
That divorce was so tough on him, man.
I know. He's hard. He's hard up.
I was broken up for him there. Yeah, big time. Well, I guess I think that the performance on the field, right? Like if Drake puts up like a David Johnson type season that we saw, and I know that we remember that fondly. I mean, it could change the tune of what's going on there, but I mean, money plays such a big role, as Travis talking about, and we know look at some of these talents that have held out, right? Like starting with Lev Bell, that did not end well, and
for the Steelers, it worked out good for the Steelers.
Hey man, if we still had Lev Bell today, I mean, we would be in such a world of hurt, right? So there's a little bit of money ball and economics at play here, but I think that it'll be much tougher if Drake does put up. Is it outside of the realm of possibility for him to put up an RB1 type season? I don't think that it is.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that they extend him, but my good friend Brother Roz wants to know: have we finished the Cutler chicken serial killer mystery yet? Yes, he's been apprehended. I didn't. I just know that Jay caught whatever was killing.
He did. What was it?
I'm not sure. I didn't check in. It just said Jay Cutler, and then he was sitting there looking all scraggly. But if you guys want to know a way to not look scraggly, then all you have to do is head on over to manscaped.com and use the promo code PORK20. I want to talk to you guys about our newest sponsor, manscaped.com. So support for the Dynasty Rewind is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for a grooming experience. And let me tell you something. I thought it was just a trimmer. A trimmer's a trimmer, right? That's it. Until I used it. It is freaking fantastic. So no more bloody clumps in your shower or your toilet. A bit too much here. That's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team spent 18 months, that is 1.5 years, perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created, and just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0, which is what I have and what we all have. Their third generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce manscaping accidentals. Millions of balls are about to be nick-free thanks to Manscaped's advanced skin-safe technology. Did you know that ceramic actually cuts better than steel? Which in that logic means that pottery is more lethal than a tank. Manscaping accidents are finally a thing of the past. When I tell you this is premium, I mean premium. The battery will last up to 90 minutes, so you can take a longer shave. So Porkman, if you're having some problems, you have an hour and a half, buddy. The water-resistant technology allows you to groom in the shower and has a freaking light on it. It has a light. It's awesome. It looks like a freaking UFO trimming you up down there. So they've also upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology. And let's not forget about the charging stand. You could show your mower off loud and proud because this intelligently designed stand is a convenient charging dock powered by USB. Unless you're my wife and she says, get that effing thing off of the counter. We have enough on there. All there is toothbrushes and toothpaste, Jenna. Sorry I put something on the sink. So trim that junk of yours and head on over to manscaped.com. Use the promo code PORK20 and trim your hog today. Make sure you get it done now. This is a trial run for us. So if we had a certain amount in this month, we get a full year from manscaped.com. But listen, don't do it for us. Really, you're doing this for you and your ladies. So let's do that, and we will just continue moving forward. So, Trav, we did you last. Porkman, I believe you are up next, and you are all nice and trimmed up, I'm sure. Yeah, you sent me the pictures. So,
yeah. How about no?
Also, I want to let you know, if we need a certain amount, if we hit that amount, we will have our intern, Sean, come and personally manscape you wherever you want. He'll fly to Canada. He'll even go to Guadalajara, Mexico, and drink their water and manscape you. So Sean is coming your way. If you are,
he said he'll give you a nice design too. So if you want an actual hog, if you want a hog down there, ship you up real good.
Maple leaf. We'll take a maple leaf too.
Do them. The True North leaf. Baller.
Totally.
Yeah, get on that, Sean. Get some YouTube videos.
We could do Maple Leaf. We could do the Dynasty Rewind logo. I will say this. So the trimmer is great. I don't think Sean's too happy about this right now. The trimmer is great, and after using it, what I'm going to say to you people at Manscaped, if you are listening, please make a beard trimmer, because if it's anything as good as what goes on down there, I need one. But
don't use the bottom for the top.
No, you don't want to do that. So Porkman, who's your breakout player? I'm saying
All
it
right.
from here on out.
Dude, you got me saying that junk now.
We love
So, us as a fans community always look for our late round quarterbacks for redraft and or dynasty. My guy is Drew Lock. Looking at Drew Lock the way he played last year, well, going back to college, I'll start with Missouri. I didn't like Drew Lock. His footwork was freaking a hot mess. Balls was flying everywhere, but he had the arm strength. So that's John Elway. Let's go with the arm strength guy. So I was like, yeah, he's probably gonna be trash too. He fixed it once Flacco got hurt, which I was kind of not happy he got hurt, but once Drew Lock came in and got some snaps, he actually looked pretty good out there. Fast forward to this year, got Pat Shurmur, which is pretty much a low-key quarterback whisperer. He helped Daniel Jones out a ton, other than not helping him fumble, but that's his own problem. But Drew Lock got new weapons. He got Judy, he got Sutton, he has Fant, he got 2 running backs. If he messes this up, it's his own fault. They gave him the weapons. They gave him everything that he needs. Fire him up. Fire up Drew Lock late round if you can get him. And yeah, just get him going.
Okay, so I'm high on Drew Lock as well. I love the guy. But before we touch on Drew Lock a little bit, Trav, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a word that you've been wanting to use, but you don't know the correct way to use it. Is that true? So
yes, it is. Yeah,
Trav, you're a little bit away from the city of brotherly love.
Yes,
but,
I am.
So do you know exactly what a John is?
I think it's like a loose description just for like a thing or like here or something like that, right? So if I was to say like, thanks for having me in this, John, does that work?
That works.
As you're talking into this, John, we're drinking this John right here.
Right.
I use this John to start the show.
Yeah.
So
you guys
got
some new Johns for shaving your plums. So
yeah.
That's right.
There you go.
I said, just let it roll.
A John is a person,
Nice.
place, or thing.
Okay.
It can be a her, she, whatever it is.
Okay.
A dog. Your jersey, them Johns in the back look nice.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And you guys just know exactly what somebody's talking about when they say it.
We have no idea what we're talking about. No,
We'll figure it out.
We have no clue. So in this area, if we don't have a clue, we just ignore you, yell at you, or walk away.
Okay. That's phenomenal. I'm actually glad that came up. I almost forgot to bring that up. I was supposed to drop one today. So thanks for reminding me, Mike.
Just slide it in there. It's almost like immersing yourself in the maple. Think of it.
Yeah, we're trading vernaculars here. We're like sharing each other's lingo. It's beautiful.
It's great. I asked because I'm a Letterkenny fan, so I asked Trav the other day what Snipe Sally was.
Snipe Sally.
Yeah, because I'll tell you what. I watch Letterkenny sometimes, and I pause it, and I have to look up what they're saying because and I'm like, I kept hearing Ferda. I'm like, what are they talking about? Yeah, it's Ferda boys. Yeah. All right.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. Great. So Trav, just wanted to get the John back in there for
Beautiful.
you. With John, we were just talking about the Denver Broncos quarterback, and also Brother Ross. It is JAWN, not UN. Just so you know, I'm high on Drew Lock too. I think he has all the talent, all the arm talent in the world. What I like about him is he just goes and he lets it hang out, man. He goes out there, he chucks it around, he raps on the bench. Like, this is a dude that doesn't look like he gets phased by anything, to be perfectly honest with you. I know that the Kansas City Chiefs are in that division, Super Bowl champs, but the defenses in that division aren't exactly stellar. Los Angeles should still be San Diego. You could get 8,000 fans in San Diego too, same as in LA. The Raiders defense, I think, got a lot better this season. The Chiefs aren't known for being a defensive team. They're just not. They're an offensive team. So I think he's in a good spot in Denver with the weapons he has and what he's going up against 6 times a year. He really has a shot to be a QB1 this year, I think, if not a high-end QB2. Hopefully he finishes quarterback 14 or better, because I have a beer bet with Dustin Lund from Drinking and Talking Fantasy. So hopefully he finishes better, and then I win the bet. But they will be on next week. We're going to be playing fantasy drinking games. The good thing about that is I can't get drunk because I'm going to be hosting. I know all the answers, so I'll drink along with you guys. But
that is correct.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good time. Looking forward to that. But yeah, I like Drew Lock. Do you guys have any thoughts on Drew Lock before we move on?
I think he's going to be one of those guys who slings it and makes a lot of mistakes. So you're going to have to live and die with it potentially.
Yep.
The weapons can't be denied. They've got a decent offensive line. I know they were good run blocking offensive line. I can't recall their pass blocking grade or anything like that, but they've built a decent team like right around them. And I just think, you think of like the Bortles season where he threw a ton of picks, but he had a bunch of like slinging points. Because he was just hucking the ball up, and he had a lot of garbage time. He had a lot of garbage time. I'm not sure it's going to be the same for Denver because they do have a decent defense, but there is some turnover on that defense, especially in the secondary. So I think it's going to be a good one to watch. But he has everything in the tool belt to get the job done, and he just has to connect, right? I think we might be happier for fantasy than the Broncos might be in real life. But I mean, we're here to talk about fantasy points, so I think he's going to put them up.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I think that Porkman, you were talking about, hey, he's got all this bevy of weapons, and they've pretty much put everybody out there for him to be successful. And if it doesn't happen for Drew Lock this season, it's all over. And I think that they're saying, John always saying, okay, man, we've seen some glimpses. We're putting all the chips on you. Look at all these weapons. We even brought in your buddy from your college days, and we already have a awesome tight end.
Do you know how to pronounce his last name?
Okwegbenam.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is that actually it?
Oh yeah, it is.
I don't know.
I'm gonna just say yes.
We call him A-OK.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, okay, that's good. But I think that the writing's on the wall for Locke, and my hesitation with Locke is actually in Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur loves to pound the ball. He loves running backs, and we saw him go out and get another one in Melvin Gordon when he already had two pretty good ones on his team. And he loves that bell cow profile. So that to me is one of the reasons why I'm staying away from Drew Lock. I mean, I think the guy has all the charisma in the world, and he can certainly sling the ball. But when I'm looking at it in terms of the risk and upside, I don't see it. The other thing too is in Denver too, I'm trying to figure out who's going to get the ball. I know that it's going to be a run heavy attack, but outside of that, the pass catchers, it's really interesting. They've got a lot of really skilled guys, but who's the one that we're going to zero in on? We think it's Cortland Sutton, but is it? I mean, they added Judy, and I think that he's going to be phenomenal and probably operate out of the slot. Rest in peace, Deshaun Hamilton. And I don't know if you guys any truthers out there.
Yeah,
he was Deshaun Hamilton all last year.
Deshaun.
Man, I loved him. I'm a Penn State fan. So watching him there, and I'm like, I think he's in a good spot, but it's like he's dead and buried.
Yeah. And to the other guy too, I love Hamler. I love the Hamburglar. I think that he's gonna be great too. But I'm like, it's another AFC West team too, where you're kind of gambling on the receivers. It's very similar to the Raiders, right? It's like one of these guys is going to hit, but which one is it going to be? I don't know. And guess what? I'd rather go with somebody that has a clear path to success, and that's one of the reasons. Again, I'm kind of out on Locke, but I mean, the guy's got moxie, man. You can't take that away. And
sure.
If it wasn't probably for Shurmur, I'd probably be higher on him. But to your point, and it's got me rethinking a bit. He did do some magic with Danny Dimes, right?
Yeah. Just takes two quick questions.
You was
here.
talking. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. We'll get right back to that, Porkman. We're going to take two quick questions here. So this is from Doug Bevels. Hopefully I said your last name. You may also know him as Oklahoma Doug. You all talked any Tyrod. I got lots of shares this offseason.
We love Tyrod.
I like Tyrod Taylor a lot more for real NFL than fantasy, I think. And for whatever reason, he's a guy that whenever he's a starter, they always want to replace him. Right? Like, even though he'll take the Buffalo Bills to the playoffs,
Totally.
they're just gonna replace him. And I think he gets replaced this year too. Unfortunately, Justin Herbert. A lot of people are down on Justin Herbert. I like him. I don't want to call him a breakout because we haven't seen him do anything yet.
So this is my. I think that we're probably all pretty similar on Tyrod. I like the player, and I think that he does have some sneaky fantasy upside. My thing is though, do we see Herbert get a start if they're in playoff contention? And there's no reason why they can't be in playoff contention. Their defense,
absolutely.
Their defense might be one of the best in the NFL that nobody's talking about. They added the best. Yeah, the pass rush is nuts, and they added the best slot corner in the NFL, and nobody's talking about them. They've got some key pieces coming back on that O-line. So my thing is, if the season goes off the rails, and anybody that's a Chargers fan, their seasons always go off the rails.
Are there Chargers fans?
I know one.
I honestly don't know any.
For real. Like I actually saw him in a jersey, and I was in his house once, so it's got to be real.
Okay, all right.
But my thing is that okay, if Tyrod does start the season and they're winning, why would they ever go with Herbert? Right? Like they've got the tools to do the job. I think the running game is super, super interesting as well. They've got some pretty solidified pass catching options, right? I think people are also sleeping. Another potential, like everybody was so hyped on Mike Williams this last year, but now he's fallen off a cliff for some reason. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But I think that the Chargers are a team that we're largely sleeping on. It's probably because of that, unsurety at QB, right? And my biggest thing is to think about it. Doug here, I think that your shares are going to be good, and if they continue to win, then you've got a starting quarterback at a pretty good discount that has really good options in front of them. So I like the addition Tyrod. I've got him locked in a lot of different spots. But if they start to falter, absolutely Herbert's going to come in. There's no doubt about it. But if they're in playoff contention, I don't see it.
My 2 points on that are, number one, I'm going to die on the Mike Williams hill. I don't care. But I did get off the Dante Pettis hill as fast as I could. That being said, as far as why would they play Herbert if they're in contention? The only way I could see them putting Herbert in if they're in contention is if they are winning ugly. Like Tyrod's screwing up and the defense is bailing them out, and maybe the run game's kind of crappy or whatever. And they're like, listen, we're in contention, but we need to make this move forward.
Right.
So that being said, moving on from this question, also check out Doug on Twitter at Oklahoma Doug. He is a great IDP mind, and he does a great IDP show too. And that's part of the Dynasty Happy Hour family of podcasts. So check him out. Great follow, great guy. So this guy back again. Sean wants to know, do you feel like Curtis Samuel takes any steps forward this year, or do you feel like he's getting buried in the depth chart? The answer is yes and no. He has a very different skill set than guys like DJ Moore and Blobby Anderson have. Sorry, I'm not a Robbie Anderson guy. I don't care if he went to Temple. I believe it was either Matt Rule or Joe Brady. Is that the offensive coordinator name? Mm-hmm. Joe Brady? Yeah. They said that Curtis Samuel is exactly the type of wide receiver they want in their offense. Hopefully that's not just off-season coach speak. I'm high on Curtis Samuel. I love the guy. I love his skill set. And Teddy Bridgewater is not really the biggest downfield guy, so I think a guy like Samuel could benefit from that. I know he can get down the field, but I think he's good enough that he could play anywhere on the field, to be honest with you. So I don't know what you guys think, but personally I feel like he's going to take steps forward. And listen, let the DJ Moore truthers and the Teddy Bridgewater haters drive Curtis Samuel's ADP down and snatch him up or trade for him cheap. So
I'm loving Curtis Samuel because that was my Ohio State Buckeye guy. But you saw he had
go Buckeyes.
Hurt.
Are you a Buckeyes fan, Trav?
Yeah, I said, I just started following super hard the last couple of years, but back to like the Troy Smith days is when I kind of started picking it up, and maybe a little bit before that is, go Buckeyes.
That's awesome.
Yuck.
But when he played in college, it showed that versatility. He did pretty much everything. He was running back, he was receiver, and then when he came out, they moved him receiver because he's kind of small. But last year, he was open like 5,000 times. So Kyle Allen can't get him the goddamn ball. So hopefully this year with a little bit more accurate quarterback, well, a whole lot more accurate quarterback than Teddy. And by the way, I like Teddy a good amount in the Scott Fishbowl format this year, just because he'll probably be a whole lot more efficient than most, and he probably won't be throwing that many pick sixes. That's -6.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty good on Curtis Samuel.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of
You're-
Curtis Samuel.
Nate is not. Okay.
No, I think he's third on the depth chart for wide receiver. That's why they paid Robbie Anderson. If they thought highly of Curtis Samuel, the new coaching staff, they wouldn't have paid Robbie Anderson. Because, like you said, Robbie Anderson is not an incredible wide receiver you go out and pay a lot of money for. So I understand it's Joe Brady. I mean, he can make anything happen if it's anything like last year with LSU. So Samuel could be a great gadget player. He's probably going to be a better NFL player than a fantasy player. And you're probably just going to have to deal with that because even if he is good in fantasy, he's going to be extremely week to week, boom bust. I just don't see a world that he's consistent, even with Teddy Bridgewater and probably a lot of short passes. I'm taking Robbie Anderson over Curtis Samuel.
Okay. Well,
Me too.
I'm taking Curtis Samuel over Robbie Anderson personally.
I'm taking both of them.
Well, okay, but
I'm serious though.
But if you had to
both,
pick,
though.
just pick one over the other. Like, who would you? Do you have a preference, or is that kind of a toss up for you?
It's whoever's cheaper.
They're about the same ADP.
They're,
Are they?
they're about the same, and that's why I would say, hey, you know what? We're this far into the draft. Let's take them both and see who hits because one of them's going to hit. We know that the other thing that people don't talk about either is that Carolina was already pretty up tempo, right, with Rivera. So how much more up tempo is it going to be with Brady, with Joe? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But I also everybody out there especially in Superflex that are going in on Teddy, you also have to go out and get another Temple guy in
PJ Walker. Yes.
Yeah, he balled out.
Make
so
sure
Nate, Nate, would you like to make a bet on Curtis Samuel versus Robbie Anderson?
Sure.
One shot?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Easy.
One shot.
So,
Yeah, well,
Sean,
me too.
Put it on the
me in
board.
there.
Okay, so is this straight PPR scoring? Who's going to score more this year?
PPR.
Yeah,
score.
we'll do full PPR. And
Yeah.
Porkman, you want action on this?
Yes.
Who are you going with?
Curtis Samuel.
Okay, great. So
I'm going Robbie Anderson.
Okay. All right. Well then,
Join the
so
bet.
I'm Samuel. I'm going. I'm in two. I'm going Curtis.
all right,
All right.
Sean. All right, so Sean, get this ready. So Nate is going Robbie. Trav, you're going
Robbie.
Robbie.
Robbie, and then the three of us on the top of the screen, myself, Porkman, and Will, we're all going Curtis Samuel. So one shot. So all right, there we go. So here's the deal. At the end of the year, we're going to have basically just a big YouTube show, where we pay up because we're getting drunk and doing shots.
So wasted.
So
I don't drink, boys. So I'm gonna have to find an alternate.
Maple syrup, bud.
Maple syrup. I'm game for that. I can
Weird
start
maple syrup
too.
shot.
that's fine. So
All right.
what was that can you were drinking out of then?
That was Coca-Cola.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. No,
All
it's been about 4 years or so since I drank, so I probably wouldn't break that streak, but I could find an alternative, man.
Yeah,
I can shotgun a can of Coca-Cola or something.
Just do a shot of maple syrup if you lose. That's
Deal.
fine.
You got yourself.
And I did that the other day on Canada Day, and that stuff gets your heart racing, man. If it's a full shot of it straight on an empty stomach,
Mhm.
Oh man, I
Now
got
that's a buzz, fellas. That is a buzz.
that's living. That's life on the edge up here north.
immerse yourself in maple.
Yeah,
That's what Trav and I are
just-
talking about
just
this week. man.
dripping. Just
All right.
dripping.
So
That's no
so
good.
Sean's got it on the board. He's got us written down. Let me see that can of Coke there. Is it different than what we get here?
I'm not
It's
paid
the
for
same
this.
can.
No, I didn't know. Well, okay, so from
Coca-Cola, if you want to check out True North Fantasy Football, get in the DMs.
so no, it's it looked orangish from
I see that with
my
the lighting.
camera.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
with the
That's fair.
lighting. So I thought maybe that they got something different. They get the French Toast Crunch cereal up there in Canada, which we don't get
Mhm.
here anymore. I don't understand why, because I think it's made here and we
So
can't get
good.
it.
So
So,
good.
It is
I know
good.
it's so good. I can't eat it. 'Cause I
And
don't-
ketchup
can't
chips.
get
Do you like ketchup chips, guys? Have you ever tried ketchup chips?
Oh
I
yeah, I
did.
have. I used to eat them as a kid. I used to tear
No.
those up.
Damn.
I love Porkman. Like his eyes are always closed, and it's like, Porkman, do you like this food? Yeah, I love that. I eat that all the time. It's like- so no, I've never had ketchup chips, and that sounds gross.
Oh, they're so good. You have to get the
They're
old.
so good.
It's got to be the old Dutch though. You don't get Lay's ketchup chips.
Okay.
Oh no.
All right. Well, my daughter would probably like that. She likes when we just put ketchup on her high chair.
Oh
and
yeah,
she just eats
Ketchup on
ketchup.
everything.
So I don't know. Also, let's see. Doug would like to say thanks for answering and for the shout out. Great show. Doug, it's always a great show. That Carolina IDP is going to be on fire. Yeah, I agree. So see, Doug knows what he's talking about. So check him out. Check him out. He'll hook you up on all your IDP knowledge. So an hour and 4 minutes, I'm going to get to a breakout. Like I said, I'm dying on the Mike Williams hill, but I'm not going to talk about him. I want to talk to you guys about David Montgomery, running back for the Chicago Bears. Not all running backs click in year one. They just don't. Nate looks like he's going to tell me I'm wrong.
No, he's decent.
What?
He's a breakout. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, breakout when we're talking about breakout, we're talking about comparing to what they've done before. So
he was RB 24, 22 this year. What do you think he can be?
I think he could easily be 14, 15, to be honest.
Easily.
Well, okay. Yeah. He can be. I'm not going to say easily. And Sean, no bets. Stop it. I know what you're going to do.
Hey, I'll take the bet. Let's go.
No, stop. I think they did improve the line. I think once Foles gets in there, the running game is going to be a little more efficient. Hopefully, the offense as a whole is going to be more efficient. I think he's good enough to be a capable running back in the NFL and a capable starter on your fantasy team. He should get the majority of the carries. I think he's the best pure runner on the team too. Tariq Cohen, while he's great with the ball in his hands as a receiver, I don't like him so much as a between the tackles guy. So, that's my thoughts on David Montgomery. Do you guys have any thoughts? Because I have a couple notes here about some other things too.
I think Montgomery's a very solid running back too. I'd be happy with him as my running back too.
Yeah,
but I'd be more than happy with my flex. But I just don't see a lot of upside for him. I think he's a high floor, low ceiling kind of player.
Mm-hmm. The carry floor is safe for him. Like he's going to get 240.
He's going to get great volume.
Yeah.
The pass catching is just what they haven't unlocked or shown that they want to unlock with him yet. I think maybe after 2021, like Nate, I'm in the same boat as you, but I think after 2020, we could maybe be wrong if Tariq Cohen goes because he's on a contract year. So from that dynasty lens, if they do unlock the pass catching for David Montgomery, I think there could be some hidden upside there, but I'm not buying it just yet because he's probably going in like the fourth round or something like that right now. So at that point, like I usually build running back heavy. So if I'm in like a startup, I may have two running backs already. And that's when I'm trying to look at wide receivers or potentially probably not tight end or quarterback, probably just wide receivers.
Yeah. And if he has another year, like his rookie season, just kind of an average running back year and say Cohen leaves, why would the Bears not draft a running back in day two? I mean,
no, it's
not to replace Montgomery, but like we saw with Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. Saw with Karen Johnson, DeAndre Swift. Yeah. We see a lot of this now that's just, they didn't draft anybody this year. So they're going to give it to Montgomery this year. It's going to be a put up year. And if he doesn't show up, I'm not saying he gets replaced, but he's definitely not going to be the workhorse 2 years from now.
They did draft a tight end though, which they needed. So
they got like 11 now.
Is it 11 or is it still 10? Yeah, well, sorry, Chef.
They still have to add Njoku too, so
wouldn't surprise me.
Dirty dozen.
Actually, I would love. I have Njoku in a couple spots. I'd love if he went to Dallas. I think
Texans.
The Texans would be good.
Yeah, right.
Warring though. I mean, I'm pretty pumped about him, but
yeah, and he's a guy I picked up off the waivers in a lot of leagues too. People just forgot about him, and I think Waring's got a great shot now too, especially with Hopkins not being there. Yeah. Deshaun Watson's going to have to spread the ball around, because Brandon Cooks' head is going to fall off. Kiki Kut's whatever. Will Fuller is just always hurt, and it's a shame too because he's such a dynamic player when he's on the field. So
crazy good.
There could be a good combo there with Waring and Watson. So, great point. Totally. I mean, yeah,
he's given a lot of targets to tight ends, especially in the red zone. Like their tight end target share is surprisingly high, especially once you get inside the 20.
And
Daniel Fellows had like 9 touchdowns or something like that.
Yeah, their stat lines for the games are so gross. It'll be like 2 catches for 1 yard and a touchdown. It's like, this is the worst.
The ball to Hopkins. Like, just throw the ball to Hopkins. How many times? Yeah. I don't know if you guys know. Just DeAndre Hopkins. Don't throw it to Derek Fellows. Like, shit.
So I just want to talk to you guys real quick about some potential breakouts, guys that I was kind of on the fence about. We'll just run through this real quick. I want to see what you guys think. So I have three. I'm sorry. Darius Geis, Ronald Jones, and Evan Ingram. And, it's one of those things. Geis, so talented, been hurt. Ronald Jones, not hurt, and he's a guy that a lot of people are on the fence about. You either love him or hate him. If you're Michelle Majuk from the Ball Blast, you hate him and then he tweets you out. So it's been like Twitter this year. Don't call out a running back in the NFL because they're going to come at you hard. That's why
Bad idea.
Their career span is so short, because instead of training, they're trolling themselves on Twitter. And the third one, another guy who's so talented and has the potential to just really go places, but he's been hurt a lot, and that's Evan Ingram. So maybe we could kind of say Evan Ingram's broken out. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people seem to think he has, but I still think that the breakout could be coming if he's healthy. I do like the offense. I like Daniel Jones a lot too. So what do you guys think about these three guys right here? Nate, let's start with you. Darius Geis, Ronald Jones, and Evan Ingram. Just run through them quick. Tell me what you think. Do we have potential for breakout, or are you down? Let us know what you think about these guys.
All right, so quick run through. I'm down on Geis. I think there's way too much going on in that backfield. Even if he is healthy, I understand he's efficient and he is incredible with the ball in his hands, but he's got to stay healthy. We all know that. And there's just a lot of stuff going on in that backfield. I mean, they're going to have to cut like Peyton Barber, who was a pretty decent running back last year, because they just have too many guys back there.
Yeah.
So even if he does well, he's going to be really efficient because he's not going to be a workhorse. Ronald Jones, I do like, even though Keyshawn Vaughn is there. I'm not a huge fan of Keyshawn Vaughn. Sorry, Garrett. I don't think he's going to come in and just take the job. I think Ronald Jones, especially with this offseason, is going to be the main running back there. Tom Brady loves throwing to his running backs. It's not Dare, whatever his last name is. He's not going to be that guy's not the next James White, as much as we'd love him to be. So I think Ronald Jones, purely for volume, is going to be good this year. He won't be the most efficient, but he should have good volume. And then Evan Ingram, I would love to see him be healthy because he's going to be a top 5 tight end. So I'm going to say he's healthy. Daniel Jones is going to fling him the ball a lot. So I'm going to go down for Geis, up for Jones and Ingram.
Okay. Trav, how about yourself?
Yeah, so Darius Geis, I haven't been very high on him, but I will acquire him if I can get a bit of a discount. But I'm totally with Nate. The volume's not fully going to be there. They brought in Antonio Gibson to take the pass catching. Adrian Peterson's still there to take some work. So I just think, much like Nate said, the efficiency is going to have to be there, and it might be, but the volume you're getting is going to be hard to rely on that as like a sturdy running back too. As a flex where you have a couple other options where you can switch in and out, but I can't rely on Darius Geis because the Washington football team cannot rely on Darius Geis as well.
By the way, if they change the name, please be the Sentinels.
I'm okay with that. I kind of like the Red Tails one.
Yeah, but the Sentinels, from The Replacement's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Totally. Merch sales through the roof.
Exactly. So I'm sorry, Trev. Continue.
No, that's cool. Yeah. So Darius Geis, I'm kind of in between on, like, it's got to be a value. So I guess you could say that I'd be down on him. And then Rojo, I don't necessarily know what to think out of that backfield either, because he did some pretty decent work in the passing game when he got some targets too. And then you got Ogunbowale, and Keyshawn Vaughn can catch the ball too. So that's really tricky one to decipher, because I do want the pass catching back in Tampa Bay. You just don't know who it is. So I think I'm probably down on Rojo a little bit. Just another guy that I just don't think you can rely on. And then Evan Ingram, I'm totally game for him because he is becoming a value in drafts that I've seen so far because of the health issues. And it's funny, one of the other breakouts that I had on my list here was Darius Slayton. And I think that offense is going to run big plays through Darius Slayton and Evan Ingram as long as he's healthy, and have kind of the easy stuff. Obviously Saquon's going to get big plays every second touch he gets or whatever, but then you're going to have Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard kind of eating up some of those shorter targets. So you might have some spiked weeks from Evan Ingram, but he has big touchdown upside. So I can definitely buy into that with a young quarterback who needs to find some kind of safety net players.
Okay. Will, how about yourself?
Well, I'm really glad that you picked such 3 really, really easy guys to talk about. So thanks for wrapping up the show like that. That's
trying to make you think.
That's awesome. Geis, out. Just nothing to do with the talent. Situation's just brutal. I mean, you even got a guy there that I'm pretty high on, and Bryce Love, that's sitting there in that backfield as well. They brought in Gibson. They've still got AP. They have Barber. It's just a mess. His ADP too just doesn't scream discount for me either. So I'm out on him. In on Rojo. He's the guy that knows the system. He's been playing there. I'm also high on Vaughn, and again, it's another one of these situations that I can lock up that backfield that we think is going to be, one of the highest scoring in the NFL, and I could get both of those guys pretty much in every draft if I want to get them, and I don't really have to reach. So I'm in on Rojo. I think that his role's pretty locked in. I'm not buying into the Agumbe Wale hype as much as some other people are, but again, guess what? I can just add him and have that entire backfield locked up, because whichever way this goes, you're going to have a piece of it. So I'm in on I'm in on Rojo, and then Ingram is just it's just frustrating to see that kind of talent just be so hit with injuries year after year. You look at the splits when he's on the field, and it's absolutely incredible. Just how much they target him and just how efficient and what a fantasy producer that he is. But again, Trav, you were saying that you've seen him slide. I'm curious, where are you seeing him? Like what round? Because even just when I've been looking at it, I'm just like, I can't do it here. I mean, there's guys that I would rather wait 3-4 rounds on. And
I can see that. I can see that too. But when you're looking at these, doing more and more tight end premium drafts, you kind of keep an eye on these guys a lot more. And in some of those that I've been doing, when Evan Ingram gets into like the 6th, 7th, maybe 8th round, I can definitely buy that. And I think if you've built a really strong roster ahead of him and you want to go for that tight end in that maybe 8th, 9th round in a regular dynasty startup, then I can buy that, because the upside is top 5, top 3 tight end.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can see the appeal of the upside, but I'm out. I'm out on Ingram.
Yeah. Okay. Porkman, your thoughts on these 3 guys? I mean, I know you're an Antonio Gibson truther, so.
Obviously, I'm not, but I'm actually opposite of y'all. Darius Geis, I'm in on. I love his talent, and if Scott Turner is anything like his dad, they like to just use one running back. So if he's that one running back and he's able to stay healthy, which I understand is just a big issue with him. My friend calls him Darius Glass because he breaks so easy. So at the end of the day, I mean, I want to believe in him, so I'm going to believe in him this year. I think he was actually going to be my breakout, but I decided to go with Locke instead. Who was the second one? I forgot.
The second one,
and I don't like
Rojo.
Antonio Gibson. Sorry.
We know.
Ronald Jones, I want to be in on him because he actually looks like he's really trying to get his act together, put some weight on, and his contact balance was trash. So now he got some speed, like he put some weight on, it looks good. So I actually really like him moving forward this year with our second year in Bruce Arians' offense. Evan Ingram, his points per game is just so good. I don't want to be out on him. I think he'll step up and stay in the game, hopefully, and not get hurt. So I'll be in on Ingram as well.
Okay. And Sean does say that DLF has Ingram at 62 overall, 4th tight end off the board. Just based on his
low pricey.
Yeah. That's a little too pricey for me. At that point, I'm going to see what's available at other positions, and I'm going to punt the tight end position because I think you could pick up guys later in the draft that have similar upside. You could pick up a guy like Dallas Goedert's going later than that. Obviously, Philadelphia runs a lot of 2 tight end sets. Dallas Goedert, I think, slightly different skill set, but still both fantastic tight ends. Goddard's been healthier over his career. I'll also punt, and I'll take a guy like Jonnu Smith. I'll take a guy like Ian Thomas, Dawson Knox, guys like that. So Ian Thomas, Jonnu Smith, those are guys that you can get later. They're now starters because the people that were in front of them are gone. Jonnu also has that good rapport with Ryan Tannehill, so he's locked up. Ian Thomas, he has a new quarterback there, but I think he's going to be fine as well. So that's too expensive for me personally. And for that reason, I guess I'll just go backwards here. I'm going to be out on Evan Ingram. That being said, that New York Giants offense is a little bit better than I think people are going to think that it is. Saquon comes back healthy. The offense runs through Saquon Barkley. That's just how it is. Darius Slayton, I'm super high on Darius Slayton. Sterling Shepard, I'm not so high on. But I think their offense is good enough that they show that they can be productive without Evan Ingram there. They're going to have to find a way to scheme them in. Will they? Maybe. I don't know. COVID's certainly going to have, be hampering that. Ronald Jones, I don't know. I'm really on the fence about him. If I can get him cheap enough, I'm going to get him. But I still think that Keyshawn Vaughn takes over that backfield at some point in time. The guy just runs hard and he runs angry. And I think he's going to do pretty damn well down there in Tampa. Yeah, I'm gonna be out on Rojo unless the price is right. And as far as Darius Guice, I guess I'm just out on all these guys because I'm a bargain shopper. Darius Guice, like you guys all touched on, the competition is there. Adrian Peterson is still good enough to be getting reps in the NFL for a reason. I mean, there's another guy just runs angry at 30-something years old. I don't know. They do have Antonio Gibson there. Ron Rivera speaks very highly of him. They also have Bryce Love, like you said, and Bryce Love could have been a very, very high draft pick if he wouldn't have torn his ACL in his last collegiate game, which is super tragic. I think they have like J.D. McKissick is still there or something like that. Yeah. McKissick's there. Peyton Barber is there for some reason. Peyton Barber, to me, isn't anything great fantasy-wise, but he's a good enough NFL running back that he's going to take away snaps from some of these other guys. So Guice has a lot to prove. And if they were really sold on him, they wouldn't have brought in McKissick. They wouldn't have brought in Peyton Barber. They wouldn't have drafted Antonio Gibson. And they would have released, what's his face?
AP.
That's right. Why did I just blank on that? I just talked about him 10 seconds ago. So. Do you guys have anyone else that you want to touch on briefly before we head out? Did I slid the oot in there?
You are nailing that.
I'm trying.
You're nailing it.
I'm trying.
One guy I had on the list that we didn't get to, and I think it might be a year early, but I'm really high on Mecole Hardman right now. It's the attachment to Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and the fact that he's really good after the catch. And I think he can be really good as a deep receiver as well. I think he's really versatile in that offense. So like I said, I don't think 2020 is going to be the year of the full breakout. So this one might be a little bit of a cheapie, but I think Mecole Hardman is a 2021 smash for me because Sammy should be gone. DeMarcus Robinson should be gone. I think those re-signings, they both came back on cheaper deals. And I think those re-signings were more because they wanted to stay with the champs. So I think there could be a little bit of shift. And I think as early as like mid-season, we could see Mecole take over as the second pass catching option. Maybe not the quote unquote wide receiver 2 because of how they use him, but he could be the third pass catching option. Behind Kelsey and Tyreek.
I think he's good enough that limited snaps could be a productive fantasy day for him too.
Mm-hmm.
He's fast.
He had over 11 yards after the catch per reception last year.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Unbelievable. And he didn't get much deep work, but I think he on 14 targets deep past 15 yards, he caught 7 for over 300 yards. So like there's mega big playability for Mecole Hardman, and he's got Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback, man. And Big Red. We love Big Red as Philly fans. We love Big Red.
Yes, we do, Mike. We love Big Red.
You don't love Big Red, Mike?
All right, look, here's the thing. I love Andy Reid, but there was a lot of times where he got out coached because he was trying to be the smartest guy in the room.
That's fair. We still love him.
Yeah, Mike. Love Andy Reid, right?
Love doesn't just stop. You can not like him, but you still love him.
Sure, I love Andy Reid, and at the end of the day, yes, I do love Andy Reid because from 2000.
Grab that soundbite. I want to keep.
Yeah, let's keep that soundbite.
What soundbite?
I love Andy Reid.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, Sean's probably on that right now. It's one of those things. He kept us competitive for a long time, so you can't hate that. There's that underlying feeling of being an Eagles fan where that era there could have been so much more, and it leaves a disappointed taste in your mouth. It really does, because they should have won at least one Super Bowl. They had it. They were right there.
Totally.
There were times that they were outclassed in the NFC Championship games. Although I will say this, I don't care what anybody says, that 2008 NFC Championship game, that was pass interference on Rod Hood. What's the guy? Yeah. Kevin Curtis is still throwing his hands up over that. So
that's right.
But they were outclassed a lot. There were times where they just didn't know how to run the ball. or they didn't try, and it was sad because you basically wasted Brian Westbrook's prime. The guy they could have rattled off 2 Super Bowls easy. They had defense to do it, but it's a typical Philadelphia scenario where I'll tell you what we're going to do, and it's not even just the Eagles. The Sixers did it too with AI. We're just going to get this one really good quarterback, okay, and then you just make it happen. They did it with Randall. They did it with Donovan. They're doing it again with Wentz. It's like,
Didn't you guys talk about this?
We were talking about this last night. Yeah,
That's
so,
right. That's
so
right.
it's fresh.
It's fresh.
But
Yeah,
sure,
it still
I
hurts.
love Big Red. And you know what? I'm actually glad to see that he has changed his coaching ways. His offense is way more creative now than it was in Philadelphia. So he has learned from his mistakes. Hopefully, Mike McCarthy does not do the same thing in Dallas. Hopefully, he just keeps making the same blunders over and over again.
Truth.
So Sean got the soundbite. That's great. Thanks, Sean. You're fired. So move. All right. So okay, Nate, do you have just another guy you want to touch on quick?
Yeah, real quick. Hayden Hurst. The guy's stepping in to
Stole mine.
so much volume, and I think he's a better tight end than Austin Hooper, just from a pure natural talent, pass catching ability. I think Hooper was a product of the system more than he was just a great player. Not that he's a bad tight end, but I think the system definitely helped him out a lot. And Hayden Hurst stepping into that system is going to be incredible. Buy right now, especially in tight end premium. Lots of receptions. He's got big playability. He showed it with the Ravens. He had good efficiency stats. He was just stuck behind Mark Andrews, who just is incredible. And he also was stuck behind Nick Boyle because Nick Boyle is the best blocking tight end in the league. So nothing against him. They just had 2 really good tight ends in front of him. He was a first-round pick. Get him. Get him on the offense now.
I love what you were saying.
The Undertaker.
Yeah. He also looks like Thor. He looks awesome. So
Yeah.
Speaking of Hayden Hurst, there's 2 guys in the fantasy industry, Mike Huff and Anthony Servino. They are doing a mental health podathon next week, July 11th.
my birthday.
There you go. Happy
Jeez.
birthday. It's from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Those guys are going straight through. If you are up early at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, myself and my wife will be on that podathon.
Awesome.
It's obviously for mental health. She's a counselor. She has her hands full with me. I said, I don't know why they put us on so early because it's all downhill from there. So if you're up early, and I'll get you guys links if anyone's interested. Trav, I know you're not going to make that because that would be
4:30 in the morning. So unless my son wakes me up, I might not be tuning in. But you never know, man. You never know. He wakes up at all times.
Yeah. So you're still going to have your mother-in-law there then?
I will. Yeah, I will.
Oh boy.
I got 2 weeks, brother. I got 2 weeks. Yeah.
That's
so far
rough.
so good though. I will say so far so good. Hey, no complaints just yet.
All right, talk to me in a week. So check myself and my much better half out next Saturday morning at 7:30 a.m. if you are so inclined. But Nate, that was a great segue that I just did there too with the Hayden Hurst Python. So I love Hayden Hurst. You actually stole mine.
Very
But Will,
nice.
do you have one more for us?
Well, I could dig deep. But I'm just looking at the clock. I don't want us to go over this 2 hours. Us Canadians apparently are super long-winded when we get a couple.
It's not even a long time, eh? It's not even a long time.
We'll run
couple
through a couple quick ones. It's all right. So Sean
couple
likes when
strip
we're
shots.
on longer, so we're fine.
But I mean, we could talk about breakout tight ends all day. Hurst is another guy that I'm all over. Johnny Smith is another guy.
Love Johnny.
Ian Thomas, I don't know, the hype train seemed to be derailed, but I mean, his situation's only got better. He's a yak machine, and I think that he's looking good. So, another guy that, again, just keeps sliding down the draft board. One thing that I wanted to comment on Hurst, and maybe this is my kind of end to my little bit, though, is that I don't get why Hurst all of a sudden is actually sliding in ADP. I was noticing for a long time that I couldn't get him. Yeah, always around too late. I was like, he was going in the 7th, 8th round, but now he's starting to slide back. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing that or if there's any logic behind it. Like
Post-hype fade.
Or is it the Ridley hype train
Down from the high.
the Ridley hype train is taking over? And
Yeah, maybe.
the Ridley hype train can pass it. I'll just take Hurst now in the 10th round. I'm completely him and Grease Lightning, and I'm set at tight end.
Yep.
Porkbane, you got anyone else you want to touch on before we head up?
I got one, and I know you're gonna laugh because I know you absolutely hate this guy.
Here we go.
But Dwayne Haskins.
Oh, come on.
No,
I like that.
no, I really like Dwayne Haskins this year, and it's not a joke. Not because he went to Ohio State. I'm not saying that because of that. I just feel as though he was a 1-year starter coming out of college, and that funky offense that they run. I don't know what the hell they do, but it's not. It doesn't really prepare you for the NFL. So he does have the arm talent. He's working his freaking tail off in the offseason to get to where he needs to be. You don't have to worry about taking selfies, getting caught in the back of the end zone, not getting ready for the snap for the point after. So I think now he's laser focused. He worked out with AB and worked out with other few people this offseason, shed some weight. It's going to be, I think he's obviously he's not going to be a QB1 this year, but he can be a solid QB2 for you this year in Superflex leagues. And he can work out for you.
I like it.
I feel dirty. My last breakout is I like Jalen Hurd for the San Francisco 49ers. He was balling out pretty good in the preseason. He got hurt. The coaching staff likes him. And with Debo going down, maybe he has a chance. Trav, I know you touched on Ayuk before. So these young guys, Emmanuel Sanders is gone. These young guys have a chance to step up. Dante Pettis is not it. So ignore what I said last year about him. I actually wouldn't be surprised if Pettis he's probably going to get cut, I would think. Because I don't think anyone's going to trade for him. They'll pick him up and they'll give him a shot for cheap, league minimum or something like that. So Hurd's definitely got a shot. I think he can.
I like that.
Definitely do it.
Yeah,
so,
I bought some Hurd this early off season for like a 4th round pick before all this stuff happened. So I think he can do some damage.
Now, if you buy some curd, you can make some poutine.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah, only premium Montreal curds, boys.
That's right.
Yeah, guys, I gotta ask you a curd tip before.
Oh yeah, bacon poutine's delicious, man. Delicious. I made pulled pork the other day. Make a pulled pork poutine. That's deadly.
Yes.
Yeah. So many good different types of poutines. We're making poutine, homemade poutine in the next few days here with the in-laws. So oh man, it's just the whole meal is just fries. You don't have a burger with it. There's no burger or nothing with it. It's just fries, gravy, and those melted cheese curds, man. Get me hot and bothered just thinking about it.
All right, I'm on my way up, bud.
Yeah, come on. Hey, you guys, there's room for all you guys. Like, I got a futon back here. You guys can all crash on there together. Come on up.
Snuggle party at Trav's house. Right now,
totally. I'm down to snuggle too. I'll come down.
The meme of Ricky clearing off the car with the hockey stick. On my way, bud. That's what I got.
Yeah. Hey,
although that car would not make it to your house. It would not.
No, it wouldn't. No. I'll do a little bubbles for you here, boys. That's a real nice fucking kitty you got there.
You nailed it. I love. Now, is Trailer Park Boys? Is that Eastern or Western Canada?
Way Eastern. Yeah.
Okay. Like Halifax.
Yeah. So originally they grew up in that trailer park, and that's where the first few seasons of the show were. But then they got a little bit bigger and they moved on to a set. But yeah, that's where they lived, man.
All right. So what's bigger in Canada, Letterkenny or Trailer Park Boys? Well,
I think Trailer Park Boys has grown to like legendary status, whereas Letterkenny's kind of like the new hotness, like I personally am partial to Trailer Park Boys just because it's classic. You can turn it on and there's just all sorts of hilarious stuff. In any episode you watch, you can turn it on whenever. Letterkenny is similar too, but I don't think it's gotten just up to that echelon that Trailer Park Boys has gotten to.
What about Schitt's Creek? That's another one of my favorite Canadian shows.
I haven't really watched much of Schitt's Creek, to be honest with you. I hear it's pretty funny. I think it's a little bit more G-rated than Trailer Park Boys, if I recall, or I'm not sure though. I've heard good things though.
All right. Lots of good stuff coming from Upworth, just like these two guys. So listen, everybody that's listening still at an hour and 32 in. Oh, we said we weren't going to go 2 hours. We're so close.
This is a short one for us, buddy.
How about it?
We're just getting warmed up.
We love the guys up at True North. They're fantastic. Will, Trav, thank you again so much for coming on. You guys are welcome back anytime. And I say that a lot, but I only say it if I mean it. So you guys are welcome back anytime. We'll definitely have a chance to do more stuff. We're rolling on with Summer of Love here at the Dynasty Rewind, just spreading some kindness and love in the Dynasty community, the fantasy community, because there's a lot of sniping. not the good type of sniping like you guys talk about up there, but there's just a lot of bickering back and forth, and it's stupid. Let's agree that disagreeing is fine. You could have a friendly conversation and disagree. That's fine. So, but hey, until we talk to you boys again, and we immerse ourselves in some maple, Will, where can we find you on Twitter?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It's Harris time. DMs are always open if you want to talk some football. My content can be found True North, whether that be written or video, and I'm popping on podcasts with the guys all the time. So yeah, feel free to reach out. It's Harris time. Twitter, pretty active on there. So feel free to reach out and start a conversation. And yeah, let's keep spreading the love, guys, because there's not enough of that going around. We don't have to put each other down to hoist ourselves up and hoist others up, right? Like you see it all the time, and it's just kind of like it's pretty quick to be able to hit that mute button when somebody's not being constructive with the conversation. So yeah, let's keep the love rolling. It's okay to hate Antonio Gibson, man. That's all right.
Right.
Porkman's like, I'm
the guy.
no,
I don't hate him. It's just the value. It was just too high.
Yeah. Porkman made a good point. He was getting overdrafted, and I completely agree with that. And then Antonio Gibson jumped in. So we'll get down to Washington one day, and you guys can square up. But until then, Trav, square up.
Yeah, we're not doing that. The only squares we square up is waffles because got squares with some syrup in there.
It's always with the food. I love it.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I'm always hungry.
You are always hungry. You're insane. So Trav, where can we find you on Twitter and all your other great work that you guys do up there?
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, I just want to say you got to toss a little bit of peanut butter on your waffles underneath that syrup. I don't know if you guys have done that before, but that is the only way to have them. You can find me on Twitter at tseal14. I am one half of the True North Fantasy Pod with my co-host Tyrell. You can find him at TNFF Tyrell. And talked about it. We got the YouTube channel. Definitely would love if anybody would give it a subscribe. And if there's anybody here watching, on the off chance anybody's watching this because of us, make sure that they give the Dynasty Rewind guys a subscribe, because we love the work these guys. We've been, I consider us personal buddies, through the internet. We're buddies.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate that. And then TrueNorthFFB.com, we got articles, we've got our rankings up, and we're just trying to, get some content out to people and kind of promote our stuff. We got 4 podcasts in the podcast network, and that's all under the podcast tab on the website. So check that out. We got a lot of good stuff coming. I'm feeling really good about the team that we've built now and the engagement and just kind of the direction that we're all headed in. I think we're kind of on the same page. I think I can speak for you as well, Will, that our group chat is bumping. And it's just like a lot of like camaraderie and collaboration and stuff. It's great.
It's hard for us old guys to keep up though.
Yeah, we got a couple of younger dudes in there, and we're trying to hang.
With the constant texting.
They talked about this thing called TikTok today. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that's for 14-year-old girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stay off TikTok.
It's a Kesha song, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I know it as, actually. And I'm actually surprised I know who Kesha is. But Nate, where can we find you on Twitter until next week?
Well, until next week, you can find me on Twitter at NateNFL. And Mike, would you like a verse to end the podcast?
I'm sorry, I forgot because Chev wasn't here. Usually he does it. So yes, please, by all means.
I'll throw you one. Don't worry. Okay. Jeremiah 7:3. This is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says: reform your ways and your actions, and I will let you live in this place. God's telling you, if you ain't got it right, fix it. So, not just America, but this entire world, we got to have some reform. We got to look at ourselves and how we act. Wear a mask, treat people nice. It's not that hard. Just think about it, change for the better, move on with life. It'll be better that way.
Yeah, wear a mask and be nice. If you only could tell that
so simple.
The customers that come into my shop. It would be great.
That's what we do. Like, that's all we do up here.
Wear masks and be nice. Yeah, pretty much.
Wear masks, but yeah, lots of apologizing for things you don't need to apologize about.
Yeah, I don't think that would work out too well with me because I'd probably yell at somebody for constantly apologizing to me.
Yeah, so. It's just normal for us now. It's just like a part of our speech.
Let's not forget, we live on the East Coast, so we're not used to people being nice to us. That's the Midwest. They're
Right.
nice out there. They apologize for, if they get in your way, they'll apologize.
Nice.
If you get in their way, they'll apologize to you. So,
You guys got to roll up to this, John, and see what it's like then.
there you
I
go.
like that, John.
Yeah.
There it goes.
There we go. Look, I have another microphone here, so I don't
Nice.
actually want to
There it
drop
is.
it 'cause I had to pay
No.
for
Yeah,
it.
don't
but,
drop
Yeah,
that one.
totally.
Yeah.
Don't drop it. Yeah.
no, it's the one that wasn't working right last night, Porkman. I think there's a loose wire in here. Because remember, I said it was real loud. So Porkman, where can we find you on Twitter? Until next week.
Till next week, you can find me at FF Porkman. And I do appreciate you guys coming on today, especially Trav. You did that push-up challenge with me a couple months ago. That was pretty cool.
I hadn't done push-ups in a while, so I was actually pretty proud of myself for that one. Paid for it
That
though.
was pretty cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, good stuff, boys. But until next week, you can find me, if you are so inclined, on Twitter at DMBauer85. I would prefer if you follow the show at Dynasty Rewind. Get us to 1,000 followers. We're only at like 868 or something like that. So
that's got to change.
yeah, Sean, round up 100 and some subscribers for us post haste, please. So until next week, like I said, we're hanging out with the boys from Drinking and Talking Fantasy. They're from Wisconsin, so practically Canada.
Another province.
Yeah, exactly. You guys can have Wisconsin, by the way. We don't really
Take it.
Yeah,
We don't really
absolutely. We have an NFL team now, buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It'll be like the most peaceful territorial acquisition ever. It'll just be like, oh, sorry,
Yeah.
hey, sorry about that. And then Michigan's going to be over there like, just whatever, just take it. We don't even care. So until next week, everybody, thank you again for hanging out. The boys from TNFF, True North Fantasy Football, check out their podcast, check out their YouTube channel. These guys are great follows on Twitter. Their DMs are always open. If you want to talk to Will about the CFL, his DMs are definitely always open. He loves talking about that. And I'm sure these guys will talk some hockey too, right?
Nope.
We love our hacky.
Yeah, exactly. So they love it. So, hey, until next week, everybody, be kind. Please rewind. Thank you again for listening. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for having us, boys.